Today on Stamp TV, I want to show you a simple thank you card featuring the new Autumn Blessings stamp set that comes with the Grateful Heart Stamp TV kit. Let me show you the tools and products you're going to need to make this project. First, you're going to need the Autumn Blessings stamp set, and the stamps that I'm using from this set are the tree or branch, one of the little leaves, I have this little dotted swirl, and the thankful greeting. Then you're going to need some ink, and I am using the Gina Designs dark chocolate ink and the faded brick. I'm also using some of the cardstock from this new kit, and the ones that I'm using are the faded brick cardstock along with some of the ivory, and then one of the pattern papers from the new 6x6 Grateful Heart pattern paper pack, and that pack also comes in the new Stamp TV kit. I have a little bit of our ivory organdy ribbon, and then I have a Stamp-A-Majig just for perfect placement of this thankful greeting. Now, it is cut so nice and close, and it's pretty easy to line up, but I wanted to show you once again how to use this particular tool. So one thing that you do have to do if you are using a Stamp-A-Majig is you need to use a clear square block, not a round block. So I'm going to put that onto a square acrylic block. So let's begin by taking a piece of the ivory cardstock, and I'm going to start with the tree. I'm going to use some of the dark chocolate ink, and I'm going to stamp this branch, where if you turn it this way it's a branch, but if you turn it this way it makes an adorable tree. So I'm going to ink that up with the dark chocolate ink, and I'm going to stamp that right onto this piece of ivory. So there is my tree. Now I'm going to just put this ink pad aside for just a minute. I'm going to grab that faded brick ink, and I'm going to begin to stamp these leaves, and I'm using this little leaf here. We were laughing because in one of my videos I called the oak leaf a maple leaf. So we decided, we had a Facebook chat, me and a group of people on Facebook had a Facebook chat about it, and we decided we're just going to call them leaves from now on, since I apparently am not a dendrologist, which is the study of trees. So, okay, so I'm going to just stamp these randomly onto the different branches here, and you can leave some empty, which I am going to do. I'm going to leave that one empty there, but the rest I'm going to fill up. And one here. So there I have those cute little leaves. Now you can stamp this swirl in the dark chocolate if you want, but I think I'm going to grab a different ink pad. I'm going to grab the craft ink, because I want that swirl to be just a little bit lighter than that brown. So I'm going to use the craft ink for that. And I'm going to make this appear as though it is falling off on this side. And you can use this stamp in either direction. If you want your swirls to come off this way, just spin it around. So this is going to go right here, like that. You can see I just love that little stamp. It's just so much fun. And back to the faded brick, and I'm going to have a leaf falling from that right there, like that. So now my next step is to work on the greeting. Let me just put this panel aside and grab, I've got a little layer here of ivory and faded brick, and I'm going to put these together. Actually, let me stamp on this first. So the best way to use the Stamp-A-Majig when you're using a small piece of cardstock like this is to adhere the cardstock to your work surface so it doesn't move around. Otherwise, you won't be able to use the Stamp-A-Majig. So I'm going to just put a little bit of tape on the back here and tape that right onto my workstation. So that will allow me, let me turn it so it's straight, that will allow me to get a nice straight greeting. Now, I'm going to first stamp it onto my Stamp-A-Majig tool. So I've got the tool here and the imaging sheet, and I've placed the imaging sheet into that right angle of the tool. And then I'm going to ink up the stamp, and with that tool in place, snug up against the imaging sheet, I'm going to place the block in that same corner and stamp straight down. So that gives me where the image is on the block according to the tool. So now I can find the perfect, let's zoom in here a little bit so you can see that, perfectly straight like that, and I can replace the tool, make sure that the tool is in place there. Okay. Now I can remove the imaging sheet and ink up the stamp again, and then place the stamp right into that same spot on the tool and stamp straight down. And now my greeting is perfectly straight without worry. Now, of course, when you're using a tiny piece of cardstock like this, it might not matter that much. You might decide that you'll just stamp it and cut it afterwards, maybe using dies or whatever, and that's fine. But when perfect placement really counts and you don't have too many options, the Stamp-A-Majig is a great tool. So now I'm going to tape this onto this piece of faded brick. And this whole panel is going to go onto a larger piece of ivory. I like this border around this greeting. Kind of triple matting it really kind of brings it out. So there's the little greeting. Now I'm going to do something similar with the tree. I'm going to mount that onto a piece of faded brick. And then that whole panel will go on top of some ivory. This nice wide border is nice too, like that. So there are my two components. And I'm going to have this greeting laying on my card, just kind of snug up against that little corner there, like that. But first, I need to create my card base. So I'm going to adhere this piece of pattern paper onto a piece of ivory, and again using that real skinny border that I enjoy so much. And then I'm going to add a little bit of ivory ribbon around the center. So this is all cut to a nice size. Place it onto there like that. And then the whole panel will go onto my faded brick card base. There we go. There. And now I'm going to apply this panel first directly onto the card. Position that. I like to have a similar border or margin top and side. I think that looks nice when you have similar spacing between the top of your card and the side of your card with your focal image. So there is the first panel, and then I'm going to put the greeting down here at the bottom. So I'm going to use some of those pop dots for that. Here they are. These are the 1/4 inch pop dots, and I need one here, here, and here. So the 3 corners, because I do have quite a few layers that this is going to rest on. So I can do those 3 areas there, and then a little bit of tape right there, since I've got 3 layers here that it can lean up against in that top corner. And so that one will go down here like that. And there is my finished card project. This little tree stamp will work for other seasons too. All you have to do is omit the falling leaf and stamp your leaves in a bright, vibrant green.